The Martian surface has long kept secrets under its reddish dust. But scientists could never have been ready for what NASA's Mars rover discovered on its latest trip. In a tranquil crater that used to be written off as a routine geological formation, the rover uncovered a hair-raising discovery, one that promises to overturn all that we assumed we knew about Mars, and maybe even the universe. The discovery was not trumpeted. It came slowly, bit by bit, as information flowed back across the huge expanse of space between Earth and the red planet. The signals first manifested as subtle anomalies, mysterious blips in regular packets of data. But as the image became more distinct, implications started to percolate through mission control. Even veteran planetary scientists, geologists, and engineers were left speechless. This was no mere rock structure. It was not a desiccated waterbed or mineral seam. It was something deeper, something unthinkable. The rover had been driving through an area on Mars called Aeolus Palus, a region of canyons, escarpments, and ridges sculpted by the wind. Its main purpose was to study mineral chemistry and hunt for evidence of ancient watery activity. But NASA had just equipped the rover with a new ground-penetrating radar unit, technology capable of peering deeper into the Martian crust than ever before. On what was supposed to be a routine sweep along the rim of an eroded escarpment, the radar reflected back a series of returns that immediately raised eyebrows. Below the crust, buried under layers of dust and cemented regolith, was a geometric shape. Completely rectangular, sharp-cornered, symmetrical. No earthly process could have formed it. Initially, the group wondered if this could be the remains of a past Earth-based mission. But it didn't align with the location of any known landing site. Nor did the materials, once analyzed, align with anything made on Earth. Additional subsurface scans created an even more astounding picture. This wasn't an isolated object, but part of an expansive network. A huge network of tunnels, rooms, and nodes lay stretched out beneath the surface, all arranged in an eerily architectural pattern. The hallways crosshatched one another at impeccable 90-degree angles, with spatial balance too precise to be mere geological accident. The more deeply the radar peered, the bigger the network seemed to grow. What really fascinated scientists, though, was the regime of magnetic fields being radiated from a number of nodal locations in the structure. First thought to be remnant magnetism from a natural mineral deposit, the fields showed themselves to be something more. They pulsed. They cycled in rhythms and intensities that were mathematical in cadence. Upon additional data processing, it became obvious that the pattern was adhering to the Fibonacci sequence, a form found in everything from nautilus shells to galaxies and even human design. A pattern linked not only to nature, but to design. The implications were staggering. If this network truly was artificial and operational, then its designers had an intimate knowledge of geometry, mathematics, and even physics greater than ours. The possibility of intelligent life on Mars, long a staple of fiction and myth, was now based on hard fact. No longer a theoretic dream, but a tangible potential. The rover, remotely controlled, was pointed toward an entrance point, an open section where a section of the structure had partially caved in, revealing an interior room. Cameras on the rover's articulated arm took the first interior photographs of the inner walls. They were smooth. Smoothed, not only by erosion, but polished, nearly metallic. Unusual stains and deposits marked sections of walls, and grooves in the chamber floors indicated past motion of objects, machinery or beings, maybe, over them. As the rover progressed further into the entrance tunnel, it found something remarkable: devices. Not mere tools, but machines. Some were welded to walls, others leaned against walls in the middle of rooms like quiet sentinels. They were constructed of composite materials with Martian elements, but combined in a manner not possible with Earth technology today. One of the devices had circuitry, albeit of a form entirely unknown to contemporary engineering. Its channels were nonlinear, fractal, and inscribed not in silicon, but in crystal matrices of unidentifiable alloys. There was a shockwave of excitement among the scientists, but one that soon cooled in apprehension. Because this wasn't simply a technological breakthrough, it was a biological and historical one. Close to the innermost chamber the rover accessed, it found tiny traces of complex organic compounds. These were hydrocarbons, long chains of carbon and hydrogen, which are typically linked with life. But these weren't the kinds that had been found on Mars before. They were designed to be similar to some of Earth's extremophiles, bacteria that flourish in boiling vents, frozen tundras, or acid lakes. Had these molecules been evidence of life, they implied not only that life had once existed on Mars, but that it could have evolved in extreme underground environments, and perhaps continue to survive there. A form of life that learned to thrive in radiation-shielded, deep burrowing homes. A form of life that never needed to live upon the surface in the first place. Deep inside the network, the rover discovered what seemed to be a central chamber. There, stuck in a pillar of black basalt-like rock, was an elaborate carving. Not in any of the known languages on Earth, but a design, spirals, rings within rings, and at the center, a stylized eye. Not animal. Not human. Something symbolic. A watcher, maybe. A warning. The instant the images of the symbol were being sent to Earth, NASA was racing to engage specialists from all disciplines, archaeologists, cryptographers, psychologists, even theologians. This was no longer data, this was virtually a message. And it wasn't isolated. Radiation sensors picked up rhythmical discharges of energy from the pillar. They did not correlate with solar flares, Martian seismic activity, or any outside source. The pulses occurred again every 43 minutes and 19 seconds. Some scientists speculated it might be a countdown. Others believed it was a beacon, continuing, still sending out signals. And then the hum. At the threshold of human audibility, the rover's microphones detected a vibration at low frequency. It was not mechanical. Not environmental. It was musical. Tonal. A repeating, harmonic vibration that did not alter, did not dissipate. Spectral analysis revealed the hum had harmonics based on the golden ratio, once more indicating it was not random. Structured. Intentional. Intended to be heard. The theory was born that this place wasn't a ruin at all, it was still inhabited, in some hibernation or standby state. Or worse, it was waiting. Listening. More unsettling than anything the rover discovered, though, were the vacancies. A number of large rooms had indications that things, or beings, had previously been there but were gone now. Patterns in the dust implied silhouettes of enormous buildings or bodies, moved away, taken away. Where were they? Had they been removed? Had they departed? That someone, or something, had visited here after the lab had been covered up unsettled the mission team to its very foundation. Metallurgical tests on the materials uncovered even more secrets. Atomic arrangements in the metal structures evidenced tampering at the subatomic level, quantum engineering beyond the capabilities of even our most sophisticated laboratories. This wasn't old technology, it was technology from the future hidden in our history. A paradox brought to life. The philosophical implications of the discovery could no longer be avoided. If there was intelligent life on Mars prior to the evolution of humanity on Earth, what does that say about our position in the universe? Is our life on Earth somehow a product of Martian biology, panspermia, not only theoretical, but real? If so, are we descended from Martians? Were we planted here intentionally, or did our forebears flee a dying planet? These aren't scientific questions, they're questions of origin, purpose, and destiny. And they lead to another, uglier question: what became of them? The quietness of Mars is eerie. No birds, no wind sufficiently powerful to sing, no voices resound through its canyons. But suppose it wasn't always so silent. Suppose this planet once buzzed with energy, with intellect, with civilization, only to be quieted by a disaster. Or by design. Some researchers worry that the place might have been a vault. A chamber of containment. And that the hum, the pulses, and the signals are not communications, but warnings. Warnings that read, do not enter. Do not awaken. Do not repeat what we did. NASA has since placed much of the new information off limits. A second, more capable rover is already in the works in urgency. Private space firms have been briefed, according to reports. The global community is pushing for openness, and rumor runs amok in both the scientific and general communities. But stakeholders can be sure of one thing: humanity has reached a milestone. Mars is no longer somewhere to go. It is somewhere to comprehend, to be afraid of, to revere. NASA's Mars rover has not only discovered ruins, it has uncovered a revelation. A hidden sound of something more, something older, and something significantly more advanced than we ever dreamed. A cosmic whisper hidden deep within Martian dust, now heard by the human ear for the very first time. What we decide to do next will determine not just our journey to Mars, but maybe the future of our kind. Because once some doors are opened, they cannot be closed again. And some findings do not only revolutionize science, they revolutionize everything.